So, thank you, Jeff, for joining us today on the interview. I'm sure this is going to be a great encouragement to a lot of people. Even though it took you a little while, I think, to get your business up and running, you came through training about a year ago, didn't you?
It was a year ago, near the end of March. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had come by your office. Of course, I live here locally. I had come by your office the end of January and signed my contracts and took care of everything. And but I was still working at the time with the plans of retiring November 3rd, which I did. I was the publisher of 3 daily newspapers out here west of Fort Worth. So it was always going to be part-time at best. But running newspapers is not a part-time job. So I had a commitment that I had to live with and live up to, and I certainly intended to, and I did. But I had taken that time though to upgrade my website, to do some things there, and to get myself prepared. And I will tell you though. And I did a little bit of networking. As a matter of fact, this first client I got was through that networking at my Rotary Club, as a matter of fact.
Oh, a Rotary Club. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So, it was a year ago, but honestly, it's only been the last 6 months that I've even had an opportunity to really get rolling with it, and then just secured my first customer. The end of January, early February, and just now. As a matter of fact, I've spent a good bit of today entering patients in. I'm doing it very hands-on. So, and he does work a little bit about the doctor that I brought on. Dr. Singh is a fellow Rotarian, retired, but he is the physician of record at the nursing home, and he has He's got a small clientele, a small patient list of maybe 30 that he sees outside of the nursing home. So what I was doing is entering in patients from the nursing home as they come in. So I'm getting all that up and going. And that's, anyway, so that's what I was doing most of the afternoon, as a matter of fact.
It's a learning process for sure, isn't it?
Well, it is, but I will tell you, for me, this is a completely different business, and it is a learning process. But as I shared with you last week on the phone, for me, it makes perfectly good sense to get my hands dirty with it, so that as I grow this business, I'll know what to expect and what is expected. So it'll help me train people. It'll help me hire the right folks and know exactly what that role will be for me when I hire someone to be able to fulfill for me. So
yeah, I mean, that's the only real way to pass that knowledge on, is for you to have that knowledge. And so and that's always, the very first thing of your first client. Of course, it's much harder because you're just learning everything about everything, plus trying to get it all set up for them. Have you had some help from our technology partners in setting that up?
Yes, and I've worked with Chad as well. So, and I've had to use them. I've had to lean on them. I was a little intimidated by the enrollment process, getting your doctors enrolled with their providers, with the payers, and the EDI paperwork. So that was a little overwhelming when I got it. I just worked through it. I learned a long time ago, there isn't much you can break that you can't fix. So,
right.
But the reality of it is, I think it was, it's gone pretty well. I will say it took a little longer than I thought, but part of that is me doing it by myself. I think I signed with the doctor right at the end of January, and then I got my first group of, I get the first bit of information from him mid to the end of March, maybe around the 22nd. So, and anyway, it's been a very much learning process, and but I feel the confidence level I have is much greater now than what I had before. To go to the next doctor, if he's got multiple doctors in his office, a lot more patients. It's full time. I've learned what to expect. But they were extremely helpful. I really there was never any pushback from them. So, and Chad's been wonderful. I used a gentleman, Tim Warren. Tim helped me with some stuff when it came to modifiers and really on the claim side. So the support's been good. When sometimes you don't know what you need to know. You don't know what the questions are to ask. And
right.
so, again, getting my hands dirty helped me, once I got to a place where I couldn't go any further without some help, I had to get it. Now that I've done this part of it, and I'm at the point where I'm filing claims, I'm getting everything going, I'm going to get the doctor start getting paid, and that should happen in the next sometime this week. He should start seeing at least checks, and then all the EFT stuff is complete. So I really think that I will see. I'll be ready to start to probably pick your brain to go out and build this business quickly now. So
yeah, good.
It's quite interesting. I took the networking path that led me to a client, and he knows a lot of doctors. So I think this is going to be a good stepping stone for me to be able to pick up some of that business. But again, I now have the time and the confidence to go out and really build the business. So
yeah, that just takes a little bit. When you get your first client, I always tell people that's the real hint that you really have figured the business out and that it's going to be real for you, because you will get referrals from that doctor if you do a good job for them.
Yeah, and we'll do a good job for them. I will tell you, the system is easy to use. I'm extremely. I'm pretty good digitally, but I'm very happy with the way the system works. It's not too cumbersome. It's not cumbersome at all, as a matter of fact. It's pretty clean.
What type of doctor is this?
He's a general practitioner. He at one time he worked for Palapino General, and he was in charge of all of their satellite clinics. That's what he did. And then he retired. He lives in Aledo, and he's got a small, maybe a 30, 35 patient clientele that he sees out, and then he's also got the nursing home that he takes care of. So he's the doctor of record there, and there's probably 60, 70 patients in the nursing home, and he sees all of those. So
good. So you'll be billing all of that for him then. Eventually you'll bill all that. Yeah.
I mean, he also has a nurse practitioner. So I've got her set up as well. So she sees some of the patients. So I'll be billing for both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, good. What kind of volume, have you got a feel for what kind of volume of claims, how many you'll be doing?
I really don't. He doesn't. It's mainly office visits. He doesn't do a lot of lab work because of the way he's set up. Doesn't even do a whole lot of, doesn't give a lot of shots, doesn't do a lot of that. So the volume's really not going to be all that great, I don't think. But I'm getting 8% for what I do, and I was happy with that percentage, and that was because it was going to be a smaller volume. But to tell you the truth, if I make a little bit on this, on Dr. Singh, the learning and the education I'm going to get is going to be so well worth it. As long as I can make a little bit and cover my expenses, I'm very happy with that arrangement with him. So I look at it like I'm going back to school for a little while, and it's not costing me anything to go to school.
Right. In fact, hopefully you're getting money for doing that learning. Yeah. You're right. And that's the way to start, Jeff. We've had licensees who go out and they want to sign up a group of 6 or 12 doctors. And that's a mistake on your very first one. You want it to be a smaller, reasonable size practice.
I got to tell you, I could see I could see how incredibly overwhelming that would be to have a large practice with a lot of volume, handling 400 claims a month with, I could see how that could be overwhelming. So from my standpoint, I believe that I believe this is working well for me, and will be a great stepping stone to be able to do this really well for for my next client. And I will be confident enough to take on a large client, knowing what it's going to take. So,
yeah. Now, you said you'd gotten this from your Rotary Club, right? So was he just another member that you knew there in the club?
I actually met his biller and started talking to her before I ever chose to do this with ABS. So, and kind of picked their brains a little bit. So, as it turns out, the lady that was doing his and had been doing his for many, many years, circumstances were such that she couldn't fulfill the obligation any longer, so the doctor came to me. So, but he does know a lot of doctors out in that Parker County, Palo Pinto County area. So I really think that it'll be a good stepping stone for me. But even at that, just him as a reference will be very good. So
yes. So did you bring it up, or how did he know that you were even doing medical billing?
Since I knew he was a doctor, I asked him about it. I said, "What do you think about this as a business after I retire? Because, what are your thoughts on that?" And then he and I and his biller went to lunch, and we talked quite a bit about it. So so he helped me in making the decision to do it. Then once to take that step. And once he did that, and we have a good relationship. So when he had a need, I did not press him. He came to me.
Yeah.
So and since he did, I'm glad he did. So that's kind of where we're at. That's how it started.
Yeah. And like I said, that will lead you to other clients, no doubt. And you may not have to do any more marketing if you just ask him down the line, a month or two from now when you've got some cash flow coming in. Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's again, once I get this thing working exactly right, I'll feel comfortable going to him, and I know he will help me if he can.
Sure.
I know he will. So yeah. So that's how I got started.
He's bound to have known a lot of doctors, having been in that area for a while, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
You were the publisher of the 3 different newspapers, or editor?
I was the publisher. I ran the business, really.
Yeah.
I worked on the sales and marketing. Well, I did it all. I'm not a writer, but I managed the business. That's what I did. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Any background, Jeff, in the medical field at all?
No medical background whatsoever. When I looked at this business as an opportunity, that's why it made sense for me, because it was in my wheelhouse. It was what I trained. It was what I knew. That's why it really made a lot of sense for me to do this.
Yeah, it's a good tie-in. You're right.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have anybody else working with you in the business, right? It's just you?
Just me. My wife will help if we get big enough, but we'll see how that goes.
So how much time do you think you're going to spend on this one practice once it's up and running? Can you get a feel for that?
I think I'll be able to handle his claims maybe a day a week at the most. At the most.
Yeah.
So I don't really foresee it being so time consuming that I won't be able to go out and market it. It's taken me a while, I must admit, to get it in, and again, because I'm hands on.
Right.
But the reality of it is that I will have plenty of time. Most recently, I had about 60 employees, and I will tell you, I have no interest in having a lot of employees.
No, I know the feeling.
but I'm very happy with. I would have loved to have been able to ramp this up faster, but I knew going in that it was going. So I took my time. You've seen my website. I took a lot of
Yes.
energy and effort in my website. I've got it.
Very nice.
I spent quite a bit of time in energy when it came to my logo and things like that. So the things I did, the foundation work, I think will pay off down the road. And what's interesting about that is that most doctors and dentists and most people in the medical professions of all, they go to school. They're smart people, but they don't take one business class, and no one educates them on the business of their practice. And so that's the way I see it. That's our business. Our business is to help them with the business of medicine, nothing else, not medicine itself. And so if you look at the little video on my website, that's what it talks about. You know,
Yes.
They don't think about the business of medicine. They get in it for all the right reasons and don't understand it for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, they didn't take any business classes in medical school.
No, and then they get out of school and they have huge debt. There's a conversation that you need to have with a medical professional. That's a business conversation. But the reality of it is that's the conversation. That's our job, is to have that conversation with them. And many of them don't know how inefficient they are. So and that part of that process, that consultative process, is not one that really sells. And I looked at it this way all my career, Patrick. I never sold anything, but I helped people make good buying decisions.
Right.
And that was my role. And so, because you're like me, most of us don't like to be sold, but we do like to buy.
Yes.
And so, if you look at it that way, which I do, then my role is to help people buy and to help people make good business decisions. And if I don't have a solution, I won't press you to buy something from me that you don't need. I would never do that. So that comes in dialogue.
Jeff, what would you tell other people? First of all, the ones who went through training, in other words, existing licensees, what kind of tips would you give to them about building their business?
Don't get discouraged. Don't set your expectations. You know, all of us left our training sessions with a very good, positive feeling. But the reality of it is it's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of energy and work. So don't give up, I guess, is the best thing. And don't lose the passion. If you believe that you have a service that can help someone, then don't lose that. If you believe that, it's, you know, and so I've learned a long time ago that the best way for me to get what I want is to help someone else get what they want. And so helping a doctor get what they want will automatically help me get what I want. And I think if you take that approach and you believe, then and don't give up. And it was really 10 months before but I kept talking to people, and granted, I wasn't able to give it my full attention the first 6-7 months, but nonetheless, don't give up.
Yeah.
And as far as any potential licensees, it's a reasonable investment for a very reasonable business opportunity. It's not necessarily, it's not pie in the sky, but it's not, you can go open a coffee shop. There are a lot of things people can do with their money. They can, but it's a very reasonable and grounded opportunity. Yes, and once you get a client and you start digging in, you realize how much it is a business, and it really is. So don't quit on yourself. Don't get too discouraged, and good things will happen. Just keep after it. So,
Yeah. So Jeff, do you feel like, I mean, have you done any math in your head about this particular doctor? Would this doctor, if you kept him for a couple of years, would you think that that would actually earn back what you've invested in this business?
yes, I believe even a part-time doctor, I'll get that back. Yes.
Yeah.
So, which that return and the support I get that's there. So, yes, but I'm not, and like I said earlier, I'm not even looking at it that way. Uh, this, if I don't, the education that I'm giving myself, the education about this business and the nuts and bolts, how to enter claims, how to file claims, how to register patients, how to do all that, will pay off for me down the road. If I come out flush and make a few $100s, and I'm going to be absolutely happy because of what I get from that return. So I'm not looking at it that way, Patrick. I'm
Yeah.
looking at it a level of confidence and a level of knowing what it's going to take and being confident that I can do it. And so there's a lot of benefits to it that I don't think I'm really that I need to calculate it in dollars and cents. But the reality of it is, based on what I know, I'll get it back. So
Yeah, that's I always look at it like any business that can get into the black ink within a couple of years is doing well, because that's when most businesses fail, is within the first 2 years. So, and this is a residual income too. So once you've got that doctor, it should continue on unless he retires or dies.
well, and yes, but and he's not. This is retirement for him. He's not
Oh,
retiring. This is retirement.
this is it.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's one of those guys. So he's yes. So
Yeah, I've
uh,
retired so many times, it's getting to be a habit. Uh,
yeah. Well, I retired from the newspaper business, and it sounded a whole lot better than saying I don't want to do this anymore.
with this business, I just I love it so much in helping people to get their business off and running, like Linda and I did many years ago, that it doesn't seem like a work at all to me.
And like we talked a little earlier, I get to do some different things too. I kind of like it, and if anybody's read about the newspaper industry, and I'm sure they have, I spent the last 5 years of my career managing declining revenues. That takes its toll on a person. Um,
Yes.
I've had to downsize the businesses. I've had to let people go. I've had to go through that, and so the reality of it is that this is a breath of fresh air for me.
Jeff, let me ask you this. Of the marketing methods that you learned there, you started out, of course, because you were a part of the Rotaries. Is that something that you think you would just expand on? Is your warm market and business networking, or do you have some other things in mind?
I think the networking part of it is probably the most effective. Uh, Again, I'm going to try to have a digital footprint that's pretty robust. Uh, but I think I will continue to do that. There'll be an extension of that with referrals. So I think it's a great way to get started.
Jeff, I love talking with licensees like yourself. You've got a great attitude. And let me just wrap up by asking one more question. What mistakes, is there any tips that you can give to people as to what not to do when you're starting out in this business?
I think I would hope, and I noticed it when the class I was in was with a bunch of really good people. Um, but don't ever get into a sales mode. Don't ever get into a uh, feel the pressure that you've got to go out and press and sell something. That will be a mistake.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that would be that could be a serious mistake actually. So and it would only just end up frustrating more and more. So network, get your opportunities in front of a doctor, and just when you get that opportunity, talk about their business and talk in terms about them, not you. And the time for you to be able to talk about you will come, but learn as much as you can about their practices and the challenges they have, and then you'll know what solutions you can provide them. It's a mindset, Patrick, more than anything. If the mindset is that you go out every day and peddle something to sell it to make money, those prospects that you burn through will recognize that.
Yes.
If you take another approach toward it and you go out with the intention that I've got something that that can be helpful to some people, I need to go find as many people today that I could possibly help. There's a different mindset. It's a mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a difference between being a professional and being a peddler. And
right.
Again, and it is. And I'll go back and say it. Very few of us like to be sold, but most of us like to buy.
Yes.
So take what you already know about yourself and apply it to the people you're doing business with. And know that they go through a process of buying, and help them go through it. Help them get to a place where your solutions are the ones they choose.
Thank you so much. This has been very helpful. I'm sure very encouraging to our existing licensees and to even people looking into the business to hear your story.
Yeah, it's and it's just beginning. So it's just beginning. So, and I'll be tapping you all for more help. Chad's been real good.
All right. Take care, Jeff. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Now.